And discovery, I spent a lot of my time, my team spends a lot of time talking to entrepreneurs and startups. And we try to create a disciplined process into how do we assess these companies, making sure we're reading companies as to how aligned to strategic priorities that will add value. And trying to get best-in-class companies into that pipeline. So we try to manage that pipeline from an enterprise-wide perspective, and have an idea of which companies we're talking deeply to have pilot conversation, test and learn conversation. So that's where I spend most of my time. Hopefully this presentation is trying to share some of the learnings that I'm getting from this meeting with companies, including large companies, but also small companies. So the title of the presentation is Consumers Today Live in the Age of the Best and in the Land of the Now. I think the purpose is think about some trends that we see and some shifting consumer expectations as well. So hopefully when we get into that title, we will be able to connect the dots. So I have a couple of slides. I don't know if it's showing like that. The intention for me is to walk you through a journey where we're going to talk at high levels about some trends that we see, some consumer expectations and how those are shifting, and where money is flowing. Where VCs are placing bets. Venture capitalists are spending a lot of money, especially into healthcare. We're going to show that. And then open up for some questions for us to think about how do we connect all these slides I'm going to present. So the future seems like it's not going to be very promising. If you look at recent studies from the American Hospital Association, they say that by 2030, 60% of boomers will have one or two chronic conditions, right? So that's not needed. We manage with multiple. So it seems that still that's going to be the case. There are some UN studies out there that say that by 2050, we're going to have more people over the age of 65 than children under 5. So again, this is already happening in countries like Japan. Have a lot of seniors. And it seems that that's going to be the case. It seems that that's going to be the trend. So again, all of this have implications. They're going to put more stress into the system. There's also, data that shows that boomers have fewer kids, and that there's going to be more single-aging folks, men and women, out there. So again, think about caregivers, families taking care of their mom, dad. How's that going to change? It's interesting too. Recent data that was kind of impactful for me. Say that 20% of Medicare members are not necessarily old, or blind and disabled. It's interesting because on the blind side, how many technologies you see out there to help to be more powerful. And I think it seems that it's going to be this case too in terms of trend we're going to happen in the future. Cognitive impairment is still going to be an issue in the future. Things about how they're going to be social isolation and loneliness. And then still diabetes and obesity is still a big thing. Apparently there are studies out there that say we're going to have 50% more members with diabetes than we have today, and 20% more folks with obesity than we have today. So again, these are still going to be pressures and trends that we're going to see in the system. Now that's kind of a high level, but at the same time, we see a lot of shifting expectations and consumers being more kind of informed and becoming more powerful. And I can highlight 4 buckets here. Number one is that definitely consumers are super informed right now. There's a lot of information out there, but there's also a lot of what's difficult for people to make decisions based on the information that's out. But definitely they know more. They're able to find more information. They're more informed. They're me-centric. A lot of this is about, it's what I need. Is this actually solving my need? Is the experience somehow caters to my need and what I'm looking for? And I'm sure you guys are very familiar with all this based on your day-to-day job, right? They're crowd power, so they're leveraging the forces of the crowd to become stronger. Think about all the social media activities that are taking place. GoFundMe, for example, when somebody's trying to help someone, very fast, you can raise a lot of money to help someone. That's happening. They're leveraging those tools to become powerful. And then lastly, they're looking for always on. I mean, this is a reality. Whatever I want it now. I don't want it tomorrow. Think about, calling someone. I want to have someone there that's 24/7 for me. And you can see with Amazon too, what they're doing in terms of delivery is always improving. That next day delivery is always on. So I guess those are kind of the 4 major buckets we see in terms of consumer expectation and how these are shifting. Which somehow brings me back to my title of the presentation, right? Consumers today live in the age of the best and the last. And actually, this was from a conversation I was having with someone on Google Analytics. And he said this to me, he said, well, that's interesting. What do you mean by that? So he said, well, this is based on searches they do. Okay, and how does that apply to healthcare? I said, well, that's an interesting question. So what they did is they have been doing some sort of analysis around people looking at best. You go to Google, when we do this, best restaurant, right? Best doctor, whatever it is, always looking for best. And they show me this data, basically from the last 3 years. This is how research around best have been increasing. So you have best healthcare increasing by 156%, best insurance by 191%, best physician, best diet, best this and that. And again, there's a challenge here because this horizon of best, there's a lot of things that are not good too, right? This goes back again to a lot of noise. How do I make the right decision? So when I look at it, I actually did an experiment by myself. And I said, well, let me do an experiment. So I went to Google and I started researching for best diet. So best diet, a lot of stuff on there, right? A lot of options. I don't know exactly what you need to pick, but it was a lot of information. I stopped doing that for a while. Then, interesting, when I joined to my Facebook account, I started getting some ads on best diet. This is interesting. And I started looking at the options too. And then I actually clicked on one. I said, well, let me click here. I just want to verify. When I click, I just went into an assessment. Start asking me questions. What's your height? What's your weight? What's your age? What do you eat? What type of food do you eat? What do you don't like? So there were very simple 10 questions they asked me in that process. And after that, boom, we have an assessment for you. We have best diet that fits with your profile, what you're looking for. Your credit card number, $20, $30, I don't remember, and you're done. I didn't pay for it, it's not cheap. But I thought that was, this is very interesting. It was basically a new channel, right? And the funny thing is, as I was going to my Facebook again, I saw a friend of mine that she clicked like on one of those things that I also clicked on. And she has lost a lot of weight. So I called her and said, hey, by the way, are you doing this diet? And she said, yes. How do you find it? Through Facebook. So again, I think that was fascinating because I have now a reference for someone that actually did it. And she did very, very well. And she's now doing very, very well too. So I thought things are changing. There are new channels out there. People are actually using social media and using these channels to engage with health and buy healthcare services, basically. So I thought that was fascinating, and that was kind of interesting as he showed me this data. So again, best. The land of the best are looking for the best option out there. And we need to realize that there's also a lot of noise. So how do we better help members navigate that system, making sure that they're actually making the right decisions? Because we also look for best restaurant and you go there and it's probably not a very good experience, right? It all depends. So this is again based on research data that we have. And then the land of the now. So it's all again best and now. How many of you have done research around now? Whether on Google, Maps, whatever. And they have seen 6x increase in near-me searches in the last 3 years. So I do a lot of that too. I go into Google Maps, near-me, ERCOT, near-me, whatever, right? And they show me it. So going back to healthcare, these were the 3 top searches they did. Near-me pharmacy, near-me dentist, near-me doctor. And interesting enough, and you would probably all know this, 50%, 55% of those searches were not to our phone. Now we can all argue that it's a different type of population and all that, but that's happening. That's kind of the trend. And I think it's always about the best and now, near me. I want it near me. I want it probably in my home. I don't want to move from my home. So I think that was kind of an interesting analysis, goes back to the title of the presentation. But connecting the dots and how do you see all these trends goes back again to what companies are actually doing. And you see non-traditional players stepping in. So you probably know about the Amazon, the Chart, JP Morgan alliances they have created this not-for-profit organization with a clear mandate of simplifying, creating more transparent healthcare, at an affordable cost. And this is pretty much targeted to big employers, but pretty much connected to previous trends that we see. Companies like Apple, again, they're probably taking a different strategy. It seems that they're going after the DH&A data. They want to have all of that data in the home. Have CareKit, Research Kit, probably a longer-term strategy as they think about how members and consumers will have all that DH&A data into the phone. And then you have companies like Google, the Google Cloud. They're heavily into healthcare. They want to have that data into the cloud. And I think that's interesting too, because once the data is over there, there's a lot of things we can do. And then you have Verily, which is under also the Alphabet portfolio, which is a company that's focusing more on a lot of bio research, pharma research, but they're also developing medical devices too. So in some conversations we had with them, they're working on a medical device, which is basically a watch. And what they were saying is, look, I don't want to create like the Apple Watch, because you can do a lot of things with the Apple Watch. It's in pictures, email. It's not what we want to do. We want to create a clinical device that captures data, that has a 100% clinical efficacy of how they capture that data and how they can interpret that data. So they're thinking about remote monitoring, and how that those few sources of data you can capture to intervene in moments that matter. So again, fascinating things are happening. And also, if you go more into the startup level, and actually more focused on the Medicare reality, you have three big companies stepping in. You have Lower Health, Devoted Health, and Citadel. Citadel actually was a spin-off of one of the accelerators at Google. And their main mandate is to focus on Medicare. Lower costs and deliver a better consumer experience 24/7. So a lot of these companies are highly leveraging on data and analytics, creating a network, and delivering a digital experience to Medicare. So it's interesting to see they have raised a huge amount of money. We'll see what the future is going to be, but again, a lot of these VCs are placing bets in this company. They're there for the long term. It's interesting when you have a conversation with the VCs that actually invest in these companies, like we're not looking for a 5-10 year exit. We're looking for a 15-20 year exit. That's like, wow. Really? Yeah. Because it's very hard to get into this. Creating the network, building the network is not that easy. It's hard, but they're willing to bet on it. And they're going to be very patient because I believe in this shift in healthcare trends. And they actually believe in Medicare. So that's where money's going to go. That's where it's going to be going the most. So again, just mentioning this in terms of trends and how these companies are trying to connect based on the trends that we had mentioned before in terms of shifting consumer expectation, shifting data practice. So, going back again, show me the money, right? Where money is flowing. Where are these VC placing bets right now? And, I don't know if some of you are familiar with Rock Health, but I think it's an interesting database that we leverage a lot in our team. And if we look at digital health, and digital health is very broad, right? It's very broad, but in 2017, there was almost $6 billion in venture capital investment put into digital companies, digital healthcare. Half of 2018 is 3.4 billion. So, based on that trend, it's going to be more than 2017. So again, there's this belief that digital is going to be very important into the future, and these VCs are placing bets in it. But I think the question is more around, so is this actually going to solve the problem? Is digital health the answer? And I think, one of the two questions that we put out there is, how boomers engage digital health solutions? Will the system adopt? Because there's a lot of questions around, are these digital health companies, what's the clinical efficacy? Providers, not necessarily referring to these digital health solutions. We know in the Medicare it's very hard for members to actually enroll and engage in these digital solutions. How do you keep them engaged? It's actually a challenge. It's not obvious. We have done a lot of work with a company called Humana, which is virtual DPP. And we probably reached 10,000 members. We put a lot of effort as a company to reach out to those numbers. And I think between 5 to 7% enrollment rate. So again, but actually those that enroll, they did very, very well. They did very well. But if you think at scale, it's still a challenge of how you deploy and scale the solutions and get everybody to talk to it. So it's not easy. It's a challenge. It's a challenge as you think about scale. And the last point is, our digital solutions actually also solve problem, or remote monitoring. Right? Or at least they're going to create another problem, which is behavioral health isolation of loneliness. We know that in this highly connected society through social media, we're seeing people who are being isolated or not interacting anymore with people who are not going out with everything happens, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is. Is that going to be the case with digital health solutions? Well, I don't know. I don't have the crystal ball, but it's interesting. Is that going to solve for it? Or is it going to create more auto complexities? But I think it's always a question around what's the right balance between digital and the human touch and the human intervention. Right? And I think that's where we see it, and I think that's a lot of companies and entrepreneurs are realizing that too. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs too, especially in Silicon Valley, that say, it's not about the EHR, it's not about the data. What it's really about is empowering members to take control of their own health. And that's the CEO of a company called Humana. And Humana is basically, a smart glucometer that we have been testing with as well. Gives you just-in-time A1C levels, glucose levels, and once you get that reading, you can provide just-in-time interventions. Roberto, you can take your orange juice now. And it's a closed system, it's a closed loop, but it's empowering the member to take action. So a lot of those digital health solutions, that's what they claim, and that's what entrepreneurs believe. It's all about empowering the member to manage health. So again, digital is still going to be important. It seems like it's still very relevant for investors. So if we go back and see about half of 2018, there were three major buckets of investment. One of them was on-demand healthcare services. Okay, we go back again to the land of the now, right? One services now. 26 deal, almost $600–700 million of investment. So there's a lot of companies out there where I can go use my cell phone and get a physician at home in less than 1 hour. I can get a telemedicine visit. It all happens in the home. It all happens in my hotel room wherever I am. So on demand. Links again, very nice. Allow me now. I want now. I want to solve my issue now. We can all argue that there's still business models in some of these companies are not sound. If you think about Medicare, there are more challenges about how you think about reimbursement models, margins. So a lot of these companies, they start selling the commercial side. It's a completely different model. When they try to send it to Medicare, it's a different story. These margins are different, reimbursement models are different. But again, I think big bucket of investment. The second one was monitoring of disease. So anything that has to do with monitoring your COPD, CHF, diabetes, condition specific. There's driving costs in the system. Big chunk of money as well, 27 deals. And then consumer health information, which is mostly defined about empowering members, consumers, to take control of their own health. Also a big chunk of money. And companies like Humana will fit there, right? Where you can have a smart glucometer that is managing I can manage my diabetes better because I have this thing that is my companion. So those were kind of the three big chunk of money as you think about 2018. And this changes, right? So for the next half, I'm happy to see what were the changes because there will be other major buckets as well. So it's all this kind of a picture of the first half of 2018. So those were kind of three buckets, but also what's interesting is more of what they call transformative technologies. And telemedicine was one of the big area of investment, $750 million. It's a big chunk of that was a company called American Well that raised like $100 million. So again, telehealth is actually a big priority for us as a company. It's a big push for it right now too. And it's actually going to be under some of our analytics. So, and this is happening because in 2019 we need to be writing Medicare, so we're to reimburse for this type of services. But again, it goes back again to the trend of the land of now. I want to engage you somehow now, either through my phone, whatever the channel is, my phone, text message, whatever it is, I want to engage you somehow now. And it's interesting because a lot of these telehealth companies, there are 3 or 4 of them, Teladoc, American Well, MD Live, which is focusing more on Medicare population, and on-demand, healthcare on-demand, which is the commercial side. Actually, MD Live is a member of Humana for Medicare population. But there's not a unique kind of value proposition. What's different in those 3 companies is nothing very unique. I think what's going to happen is they're going to reinvent themselves, and the value proposition now is going to be different. How do you think about scheduling? So as I schedule, it's not only about the visit for telehealth or through a phone, it's about how you think about scheduling, dynamic scheduling. So that I can schedule an appointment tomorrow and get someone talking to me over my phone and get an answer to my problems. The second topic was AI, machine learning. And I think AI is a buzzword. Everybody's talking about AI. But how do you apply it to healthcare? And I think there's a lot of companies out there wasting money, a lot of companies focusing on AI, not necessarily in healthcare, but building different solutions across different industries. But I think how AI is that intersection about, think about remote monitoring. How do we capture data? How do we as a company start thinking about capturing huge sources of data that are coming from devices? Where's that data going to go? I will assume it goes to the cloud. Once it's in the cloud, what do you do with it? I think that's where AI plays a big role. How do you think about that brain, back-end infrastructure that will help you make more informed decisions? If you think about a Humana model, is there a way to apply AI where I can see, it triggered an alert, something is happening at the vertical. Okay, so what type of intervention do we need? That will probably be all handled by AI. Because in some circumstances, I don't need a nurse in my home. I just probably need a social worker in the home. I probably just need a caregiver in my home. And I think that's where AI will play a big role. It's understanding, based on that alert, what type of intervention I need. I might just need a telehealth conversation. And I think that's the power of AI. It's allowing you to triage and determine what type of intervention you need so we can become more effective and more efficient in the way we deliver care. At the moment that matters. And then the last one was the digital medical devices. And I think most of these companies, you probably know, the device is just about mining the device just to capture the data. Because what is relevant is data. And I think that's the biggest challenge is when you have a device, when you think about members that have multiple chronic conditions, that it gets tricky. Because then we have, 3-4 digital solutions for me to engage if I have COPD, diabetes. So I think the question is, how do you think about a platform? One single point solution where I can go, and then there's all this digital offering that will take care of my diabetes, COPD. Because otherwise, I will be opening multiple workflows and multiple apps to take care of my condition. So I think that's a challenge too, especially with the type of members we manage. So again, I think it's interesting what's happening in terms of where money is being put. VCs are placing big bets into this big chunk of areas. And I think somehow they align to what Humana is going after as well. So somehow you can say we're pretty much aligned to those kinds of trends that we're seeing out there. And I promised it was going to be short, so I'm almost done with my presentation. But I think, I just want to have a couple of takeaways, and I will end up with another example as well. But I think, the takeaway here is that this new innovation and shifting consumer expectations are definitely putting new demands on companies that want to be. And I think, I have to come up with 3 questions here. And one is about, knowing better. How do we leverage data? Personalized really care to know that member better. We all talk about big data, but the information actually is a small data, right? How do you think about that member? How do you think about Roberto? What is that need? What are these needs? And that's a combination of getting a lot of data, but being able to narrow down to that level of specificity. It's interesting in these conversations with one of the guys from Burley, the CEO of Burley. He was saying, imagine a world where people would like to think about their health. And it's hard to change behaviors, we know that, right? It's very hard to change behaviors. So if I have someone, a senior that's going every day, he's going to go for a walk, gets his coffee, buy a donut. It's going to be very hard for me to change and say, stop eating that donut every day. But he was saying, imagine if in the future where you have Google Maps. Google Maps is leading a lot of your journey, right? So this is kind of a very long-term future, but he actually had a point to say, one day, maybe Google Maps, as I drive back from work, will take me in front of the park. And there's a lot of people exercising. So it's like, wow, people are exercising, I should get exercise too. Next day, maybe Google Maps takes me to a different route. It will take me to, in front of a university where there are some classes, and say, well, I should learn something new. Maybe I should want to engage in a new course, learn something. And then maybe one day it will take me in front of that coffee shop where the donut is, so I can stop and eat my donut. Right? So I think the point he was trying to make is there are ways to intervene that are not necessarily related to your donut. They're not, and you remember, you have diabetes, you need to take care of yourself. You're intervening in a way that will empower him or her to make a decision. So you see people exercising, you see people walking, so I want to have a walk. And that may be a way to change that behavior. Now that person is not going to need donuts every day of the week, or maybe once a week. And the other 2 days of the week will be exercising or doing something else in the community, talking to a friend, or whatever it is. So I think that's interesting because it's how we intervene. And you know, I was thinking about this too. Is there a way to intervene when I log into my bank account? Because people log on into bank accounts always check the accounts, right? Is there something there that can have some sort of a healthcare indicator or something? I don't know. But you know, I was thinking, is there a way to partner with non-traditional healthcare companies, banks or something, where you can go and you know remind you that you need to do something, but it's not going to be related to your health. I don't know. Then the second one is, you know, definitely assist me anywhere. In the moments like that, you know, how do we as a company, as a brand, assist consumers? And I think that's very important. It goes back again to the on-demand healthcare, right? And it seems that VCs are betting on it. I want to engage with my physicians. I want it now. Why do I need to wait 3-4 months for an appointment? Is telehealth going to solve for that? I don't know. Maybe. I think that's what consumers are expecting. That's what they want. And help me faster. You know, right there at the right time. Whether I'm at home, I'm at the office, whatever I am, I want my healthcare now and faster. So those were kind of the 3 reflection buckets. What I want you guys to leave with, based on the slides and what we saw. I promised it was going to be short, so I think I was pretty short. But I don't know if you got any questions, comments, reactions to the presentation, any insights or learnings you would like to share. And I'm happy to share this deck too. You know, I don't think there's nothing confidential on it. But yeah.
How are you going to share it? Is it okay to access that? So is that slide that has like the near me, and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Will you be posting this or to be accessible through the DC all
I could put it in the top. Actually, I can. Yeah.
So all the near me, I know there's a interest now. Basically, there's a confirmation that Humana has been teaming up with Kindred, obviously, and Curo, and that's one of the things. That's probably in relation. There's no nearer to you than just your basic med stay when it comes to the always on remote. And I've heard that this week they're rolling like the Fitbit Care too, trying to make it more go the at-home health direction. Do you see a correlation when it's just always trying to get nearer to the person who's at risk? That by Kindred, just want to go to the at-home health track, like no route to the, Kindred at home. How do you feel about that? What do you think the future is going to occur?
Well, I strongly believe in that strategy because, again, people want to age in place. We know that. And I think there's ways that you can expand that healthcare services in the home. Right now, most of the work we do at home is just care coordination. How do we go beyond just care coordination? I will imagine that. I was having an interesting conversation with companies that are building dialysis machine for the home. And it's a company called Outset. And the machine is almost probably smaller than this. And it's enabled for you to do it by your own stuff. You can plug in your dialysis device and have it at home. So I think a lot of that definitely is the right choice because a lot of that is going to be in your home. I think it's just understanding what are the right value propositions of companies that will help us achieve that. So I'm not saying that's going to change tomorrow, but if you think about dialysis, which is almost like a dual with 2 companies managing that, and it's running at extremely high cost. They're going to disrupt the space. There's now a member can hold the house by its own in the home. There are companies already thinking about it. 2 or 3 companies already building these devices. So I think it's all about near me. Maybe in the future it will be near me community who is kind of that member of the community that I want to connect with. But I think it is what it is. It's almost kind of on demand, beyond demand space where the Apple space also fits. I think the challenge though is a lot of these companies are trying to offer on demand, not on demand, but more there's a lot of companies, 3 or 4 companies, like probably you've heard, like Contessa Health, Landmark. There are companies that are building a network where you can, facilitate that care coordination also very involved. And a lot of VCs, I wouldn't say Silicon Valley's VC will invest in those type of companies because they see more of the digital and technology. More kind of very focused and very specific healthcare VCs will definitely invest in those companies. And it's hard because there are very capital intensive companies and they are hard to scale as well. So if you think about a company like Aspire that is, has developed like a network of end-of-life nurses and care managers, which actually you can partner with. They did a very good job because again, that company built a set of assets that is very hard to build. It built a network that is very hard to build. And they're delivering our experience near me and home. So we as a company, best for us was to partner with them. That's what we did. We did very well. So I think the thing is that we won't see a lot of that trend of VCs putting money there because again, it's a challenging space when they say, I don't know, it's very hard to scale. It's a challenge for that space to be in. So it goes back again to go ahead. Sorry.
So, are you just going to know about the industry and what's happening with our companies in healthcare? What's the best work?
Look for mass companies.
Like, the new company startups, what's happening in the industry and what's the PC, those kind of startups.
You're going to reach out to me?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I think, that's a very good point. I think there is a lot of sources out there about Rock Health, for example, which is database we use. They have a lot of information portfolio investments. They used to be an accelerator, but now they're shifting, they're building their business model. They're focusing more on kind of becoming a VC, more from seed-funded companies. There is a good source of a database called CV Insights that we help to do research. And then we have what we call Discovery Network, which is like a bi-weekly meeting that takes place with kind of cross-functional cross-enterprise. So we have also Medicare, Wellness, 365. And we get together on a bi-weekly basis where we share companies we're talking with and meeting with. And the intention is to bring more transparency to understand what's happening across the enterprise. But also talk about what's unique about a company and what's the unique business model they bring. So that's something that we have as a capability now within the DH&A, which is great. But I think those, Rock Health, Startup Health is another good one. You can look at accelerators. So accelerator programs tend to, have development programs where we take very early stage companies and they try to grow them. So there are 2 of them. There's one called Y Combinator, which is very famous in San Francisco. And there's another one called Matter in Chicago. Are very good. If you think about sources, and again, I think looking at those, especially because those companies are super early stage, it's very hard to say, well, maybe we can engage as Humana companies that this is tough for them to deliver. But that gives you a sense of what's happening in terms of trends. And tell, what are they developing, what are they building. Any other comments, questions? Yeah.
What's the trend in terms of consumers' comfort level of sharing data? Privacy is becoming more, but sometimes they're being forced into sharing it. You have to enroll in this and share this information to get a better rate. What trends do you see in terms of that? Like, how much is this going to benefit me versus how much information I'm going to get?
Yeah. So I think, to that question, what I've seen is they normally are comfortable sharing that data when they're together with folks that have the same kind of problems or issues that they have. So if you think about a company like Humana that is developing kind of virtual BPP, that's one thing they do. They try to match you with the person that is pretty much very close to you that has the same issues and problems. And that's kind of creating that group where everybody's supporting each other. So I think the learning, based on what I've seen, is they will share if they feel in an environment that is for them very comfortable to share. So we might ask them to share data, but they say, who's this data going to? Why am I sharing all this? Versus saying, okay, I'm sharing this data with a group of folks that are actually going through my same problems and issues. So that will, for them, it will be more comfortable to share. Because they start thinking people that are going through the same problems that I'm going through. Versus saying, share my data with Roberto that has nothing to do with my problems or issues, right? So I think to that question, maybe that's how I'll answer it right now. I also think that, I think people will have problems sharing data. I don't think that's the issue. I think their issue is more about whether my data is going to be safe. And I think that's what we need to guarantee, is that whatever you share, this will be safe. And I don't think there are going to be different levels of data sharing that you can share, what you cannot share, and how you pocket those. It's kind of vault where you have, maybe you have access to this thing, but you won't have access to this thing. I don't know exactly how that's going to play, but I think people are definitely going to share. It's just about how do we create that security and that comfort for them to say, yeah, I'm feeling secure to share this information. Yeah.
So, given that you guys have done different pilots with different digital solutions through innovation, have you guys ever done like a meta-analysis looking across those to help us understand what types of members would be more inclined to engage in those solutions?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think one of the challenges, and this goes back again to, making sure that we have the right data about that person. I think in some instances when we reach out, we realize that, oh, this member doesn't have an email account. Okay, that's a problem. So how do we really narrow down to the fact that say, yeah, we have all those members that actually all have email accounts. Great, so that's one thing. There's a lot of information of how do you cluster the right members in terms of what type of technology they use, how would they engage with the technology. I think it's just a matter of how you look at the data, to be honest, at the end, and I don't know if we have that richness yet of going to that level of specificity to say these are the 10 or 15 we should be reaching out, because I know we're going to have 100% hit and all of them are going to engage. But I think it's most about, are they willing to use technology? Are they somehow tech savvy or not? Do they have an email account? Those type of things I think we can, and I can get you more information on those learnings, but I would say those are kind of the major barriers sometimes. So when you go to that level of data where you can really understand whether that person will engage or not.
So you've seen like right now that, I guess like our, maybe speaking about Medicare age members or older adults, like I guess are they as engaged with technology, are they as tech fluent? And then are we designing for them, or are we really, a lot of these trends, are we designing for somebody who's like 5 or 10 years out? Like I feel like there might be a gap there. There's maybe a risk there. Yeah.
I think that's a very good question. And in fact, it's interesting because if you look at this, most of these companies that design digital health solutions, they're not necessarily designed for seniors. Right? It's very unlikely to see a company that is saying, I'm designing for senior needs today. It's not the case. Right? I think they're designed for the next wave of making advantage choice. And as we think about this design, I think that's what we're getting ready to for the future. Even if we place investments in these companies, I'm not investing because I know they're going to get a trend this year. That's very unlikely. Probably the next 3 or 4 years, yes. But I think it's just how do we get ready for that next wave of Medicare Advantage members that are going to be definitely more tech savvy, that are going to be willing to engage more with technology because they're already used to it. So I don't think the ideas we have today are not going to solve the problems of today, they're going to solve the problems of the future. So I think that will be how would I answer. Any other comments? I think at least we're going to be now in the same team, so it's going to be interesting to see this all interconnectivity across, innovation, tech, digital, and analytics as well. So I think we're in a very good time. And I think this new kind of newly formed organization is going to drive a lot of that initiative. Right? As we think about the intersection between data analytics, consumer design, consumer-centered design, and how do you build a portfolio of options that will impact the future of the company. And honestly, gets us ready for that future. Because again, as I show in these companies here, I'm not saying that they're going to transform the world rapidly, but there are already a lot of big players out there. We're going to probably eat for lunch, so how do we get ready? Because they're already thinking about data analytics, they're already thinking about the right design experience.
Who's ahead of the pack, I guess, as far as I imagine all these racehorses, all these people, but I'm assuming maybe Amazon is trying to, they've already pulled their plans in, kind of, I guess, brokering or designing the plans, I guess, we want to understand why I'm kind of understanding, but are they ahead? Who's doing this maybe? I don't think anybody maybe is doing it well, but I guess who's...
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I think that, and again, I think probably the Amazon Berkshire and the JP Morgan kind of partnership is the one that you probably be more taking care of and be more careful about it. But they're not necessarily competing on that here because they're mostly focused on the commercial side. Now the question is, once you focus on the commercial side, then you get good traction and you build the right consumer experience. Those are the folks that are going to be the next Medicare. And they're going to have competitive advantage saying, now I'm going to design for Medicare so I can retain these members. So we retain Medicare members for 9, 8 years, right? If you can start getting them on the commercial side and then move it over to Medicare, that's a beautiful model. We'll have them forever. So I think that's something to take care of. And then again, this is not going to be tomorrow. I mean, there's a lot of things that still needs to happen. But still, a lot of these signals tells us that we need to be ready for that future too. And startups, they can go faster. They have, but again, I think Amazon has this capacity to leveraging, data that they have. And they're very good at it. I don't know who's going to bring the design though, because Amazon, I wouldn't say Amazon is necessarily very good at front-end design, right? You probably know this one, but they're very effective in terms of supply chain and how to manage the supply chain and import resources. Any other comments, questions?